All right, we're here with the manager of the Detroit Tigers,
Skipper.
Ron Gardenhire, a legend in the game. Actually became more of a legend when he came on the RV because he just said he's an RV guy.
RV guy.
Yeah, tell us
Huge.
about what's the best RV adventure that you've ever gone on.
Oh, you don't. I will tell you this. One night I'm coming back from visiting my family in California from Oklahoma, and it was like Flagstaff, Arizona, mountains, the snow. I decided to stay at a hotel. I've got a 40-footer. I turn into the hotel, which has a little rise. I buried my bumper and put my wheels in the air. And that's where I had to leave my RV. Had to get a tow truck to come and pick it up, right? My mom, she was pretty old at the time.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law, he was having cocktails, so he couldn't help me.
Were they all
right?
wearing seatbelts?
Oh,
We got people
we were
bouncing
pulling it.
off the RV.
We were pulling. No, I mean the front end went up, the rear end hits, and next thing you know, my wheels are going. Zzz.
Oh
I'm
no!
going. This is not good, and I'm blocking one lane
Right.
of the road. So
Oh, God.
it was beautiful.
Is that mostly how you like to spend your time, like in the off season? Like, what's an off season look like for you?
Well, now I've got it parked. You know, the RV I have is parked at my daughter's house on the farm in Oklahoma. So I travel. I go see the grandbabies. I've got a house in Minnesota. My daughter lives in that up there in Minnesota. So we go and spend time there, and then we try to stay in Fort Myers, our house in Fort Myers, a lot.
So is this like a John Madden thing? You're not a big airplane guy, much rather keep the feet on the ground type of deal?
I'm not so. I don't mind flying. We fly all the time, but I love getting in the RV and traveling. I love staying at Walmart parking lots.
That's where we've been holed up.
That's it. That's exactly it. Walmart, you go to sleep, it's all good. You wake up in the morning, you got 6 diesels on each side of you.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
We're looking for cover.
Absolutely.
We were doing live ABs in the middle of Walmart, so that's
Yeah.
kind of been our thing. Is we're driving around, we get the wiffle ball bats, we're trying to just find random fans.
Say
to
this,
strike
Guardy. I
out.
punched him out on the bread aisle.
Yeah.
3 straight, caught him
Yeah.
looking.
In fairness, though, if you were to use a shopping cart as a strike zone, how would you position it?
A shopping cart as a strike zone.
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't set it vertically.
No.
You would go horizontally.
Absolutely.
Nah.
Make it wider.
So here's
you're
with
talking
the
about
hand.
skipper
Hold on,
right
hold
now.
on, hold
Come
on.
on.
Let me just if you do it sideways, it's a rectangle
Plate
strike
coverage.
zone.
Plate coverage.
Or the side that you push the carriage, the side with the handles. That's a perfect strike zone right there.
You're only so tall physically. I was working with what I was given.
I think that's unfair.
Think about what umpires do. You remember the old school umpires? When they stood behind a catcher, they'd go.
Yeah,
So that was just their trying to get comfortable.
yeah,
That was their strike zone.
yeah,
Because it was getaway day.
yeah.
You gotta remember that.
They had the RV loaded up.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, Dallas, you had the stat about the ejections. How many is it? 79?
73, I believe. 73 with Minnesota. Big fan. Guard, I got a question. As the game is starting to evolve right underneath our feet, right underneath our noses, something that has happened is they've kind of castrated the manager umpire argument. I value it. I know where the value lies within. Can you explain how important it is for you to be able to? I mean, let's be real. We got Angel back there boxing shit. We got CB back there boxing shit. You've got opinions, and you'd like to share them at times. How important is it for you to be able to just have those conversations?
You as a manager, sometimes when you're kind of struggling as a team, you want to get thrown out. I have actually told umpires, listen, I can't watch these guys play anymore. I don't like you umpiring, right? But you're going to throw me because I ain't watching this anymore. And I've had an umpire tell me, I got to stay, you got to stay.
That is no
There
good.
you have it.
That is no good.
Who's your favorite umpire, or who do you have the best rapport with? Like, if you go out there and you're hot, what's the guy that's like, all right, like that's Guardy. I know that this is a civil thing here.
Oh, the reality is I'm good friends with a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
You get to know them. They know it's all part of the game, the business. My job is to keep my players in the game.
Yep.
So I go out and argue just to get them on me, which I do a really nice job of that. and they stay in the game. I
Yeah.
want them to play. So there's so many guys that I'm good friends with, and you go out and argue with them, and they're looking at you sideways, and they just turn their head sideways,
Yeah.
and they're not even answering.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get them to like answer me, and
Yeah.
they're like just looking at me,
Stone
smiling.
facing you.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
That's not a fun argument.
Yeah. So how have you evolved as a manager? Because you've been around the game for a long time, and I feel like the managerial position has evolved in recent years specifically, but you still have a stronghold on your clubhouse, and you're a guy that commands respect. How are you how have you evolved as a manager over the years?
Well, first I was underneath Tom Kelly for a long time as a coach. He was a great manager. He handled it, his way, tough and a really smart guy, tough love, even for coaches.
Yeah.
And I kind of, when I first started managing, I kind of took that in there, and like Mankevich's and Torrey Hunters and those guys, it's just harder for me I start yelling at them, but then I look at them and they're making funny faces, and I would start laughing. So I just want them to respect the game. When I come in the clubhouse, all I'm asking for is you come in, you have a job to do, respect the game, but remember this: it's baseball.
Yeah.
It is not rocket science.
Yeah.
It can be, and it's getting to be rocket science. And I'm learning, right? The new wave.
Yeah.
But it's still baseball.
Yeah.
And we're going to have fun. And so I tried to create, and I still try to create an atmosphere. When they get there, they're having a ball.
I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Uh-oh.
Spell Mankevich.
No chance.
Absolutely not.
You really don't know how?
Oh, yeah. I wrote it down like 18,000 times.
Yeah.
Now I type it down. But
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like M-I-E-N-T, K-I-E.
Yeah.
And then
W-I-C-Z.
Yeah, W-I-C-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it in a lot.
Well, obviously you're in a good spot here. You've got the Tigers. You've got a great mix of veteran guys with some young up and comers as well in the lineup, on the mound. Me being a pitcher, my focus always tends to drift right towards the men on the mound. How's this starting rotation shaping up? You've got guys like Fulmer. You've brought in guys like Tyson Ross. How is this rotation shaping up, and what are you looking for out of some of these young guys? You got Daniel Norris, Boyd, guys really poised to take the next step.
And that's it. I mean, it's competition. When you go in and have a club where there's no competition at that rotation, then you're probably in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much pitching you need. Fortunately for us, we have 7 or 8 starters here in camp that all have an opportunity here to see what they can do. And we're going to have to make some tough decisions. We're going to send a couple guys down that probably should be on this staff. We brought some veterans in to kind of hold the fort so these guys can better prepare themselves and get a little more innings in. But with the Tyson Ross and guys like that and more. But ultimately, we've got some really young stud pitchers coming up, and some of them are here now, which makes it real exciting for our future.
Now, as far as controlling innings and controlling their exposure, if you will, and again, production and resources plays a role into this. The opener, when you were broached with the subject, if that's been something that you've talked about, if that's been something that's been thrown your direction, what was your initial reaction to it?
You take it in stride because of everything that's gone on in the game. So you start looking at it. Can we do that? Like a team like Tampa, who's kind of made it an art form. You wonder if it's all about they just don't really feel they have enough starting pitching to last for a year, so they put guys in to eat 2 or 3 innings up, and then they bring the guys in. What it does for the opposing manager is you got to figure out who in the hell's coming in next.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you've got to say
how many?
Right, you got a southpaw opener up, right, and now maybe you've got 2 guys at the top of the lineup swinging from the left side that you might not be as prone to throw in there. So it does leave some room for strategy for you as well.
Oh, it is, and it's tough to ride a lineup out. And the Mets did it. I mean, the Twins did it. And they came into Detroit, and I'm telling you, every game I think they started the same left-hander against us. And I still couldn't figure out how many damn innings he was going.
Speaking of the left-hander, I want to take it back to the Twins days for a second, because I'm a big Johan Santana guy.
Johan Friendly Podcast.
There you go.
Because I was infuriated. What was your reaction when Santana fell off the ballot after 1 year?
Fell off the what?
The Hall of Fame ballot.
Johan, it's probably longevity and what they're talking about, these guys with all these enormous numbers. But
like his peak years.
It's just like Jack Morris, the story with Jack Morris, Bert Blyleven. In their time in the game, they were the most dominant pitcher in the game, and Johan was that guy.
Yeah.
For a long period of time there. I mean, 5, 6, 7 years. But I don't know if that's enough for them. But, this guy was not only just a great pitcher, he's a great athlete. Right. I mean, one of the best fielding pitchers, the whole package. But I was lucky enough to manage the guy. I've said this guy right here has Hall of Fame stuff. Now, whether his career lasted long enough, I guess that's the big deal. Great stories. I got great stories. One night he strikes out like 17, 18 guys. Yeah. Right?
I think it's record.
And it's like his pitch limit's right at 100, and we never really pushed it. and it's in the Metrodome, and the crowd's going crazy, and he strikes out the last 2 guys of the 8th inning. And I'm looking at Rick Anderson. We got Joe Nathan down towards the bullpen, and I'm going, we can't take him out. And he's got like 100 pitches. But before he got to the dugout, he takes his hat off and tips it to the fan and took himself out.
Made it easy for you.
Saved 10 years on my life.
Made it easy for you. So you had a front row seat to a lot of greatness there in Minnesota, a lot of great times. We have lost, or I guess I'll say this, the man who spends his entirety in one uni, that guy's a dinosaur. That guy's a unicorn.
Absolutely.
We don't have those around anymore. Biggio Bagwell, that's kind of Custard's last stand, if you will. To be able to watch Joe Mauer develop and evolve day in, day out over the course of his career and how he was welcomed by the fan base, by his hometown crowd. What was it like to have a front row seat to just kind of watch Joe become Minnesota Joe?
Yeah, you're talking about one of the nicest guys. I don't know if you know him personally, but truly a gentleman, one of the nicest guys you've ever met, and probably the best swing I've ever seen in the game. Consistently on a day-to-day basis, it was just perfect.
Well, I was throwing balls at his hands, Gardy, trying to get in there, and he's filleting it back up the middle. I'm thinking, that ball's going to hit you if you don't swing, and you're getting barreled. What's going on?
Well, he could let the ball travel, and he could honestly, you got hitters all the time saying that ball was at least 3 inches outside. If Joe Mauer said it, I believed it.
Yeah.
I can promise you could take and try to measure, and it might be 3 1/4 inches outside.
Yeah.
But that's how good as I was.
Right. I mean, we've mentioned Joe Nathan. We've mentioned Santana. Obviously, Joe Mauer. Justin Morneau, another guy there with an MVP to his name. What was in your opinion, regardless of how the season ended or what the postseason result was, what was the best Twins team that you were ever at the helm of?
Our first one, 02, we got to the American League Championships. That was a great baseball team.
Yeah.
We had a lot going on for us, good pitching staff, the bullpen, the whole package. We just ran into Socha and those guys that last game.
Yeah.
We scored 9 runs in 1 inning. I changed pitchers 18 times.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those type of things. But I think 06.
Yeah.
In 06, I really thought we ran off, I don't know how many games it was. We ended up catching the Tigers and passing them. And then we got beat. We got swept by Oakland.
Yeah.
With 3 big pitchers, the 3 studs.
Yeah.
And I thought that was our best chance that year.
Mm-hmm.
The way we were playing and how hot we were, and it just clicked. But we got swept by Oakland.
Was that the Morneau MVP year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Was
so.
it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mauer might have hit 20-something home runs that year. I think
Yeah.
he hit 27 or something like. We told him you need to stretch out a little
thunder.
bit. And,
Yeah.
yeah. So he did. And that's not him. He's
Right.
not get up there and jerk the ball,
Yeah.
but he stretched out that year. So it was a great year. Unfortunately, we got wiped away by those 3 stud pitchers.
But what was your fondest memory of the 91 World Series?
Well,
Besides the win.
I mean, I'm coaching third base.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the movie Jaws. Dan Gladden's standing there on third base with me, and I'm trying to talk to him, and it was so loud you could hardly hear. And he's screaming, "You're going to tell me when to go, right?" And I'm like, "What?" But it was like Jaws. You remember when he says, "I can't spit"?
Yeah.
I couldn't spit. Oh, my God. The place was rocking. It's the loudest thing I've ever been in my life. And just standing there with Danny Gladden, and I screwed up.
Yeah.
Larkin hits the ball in the outfield. Gladden's jogging home, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
And instead of doing what I should have done, ran down the line with him to home plate and been in every picture.
Yeah.
I ran back over towards the commissioner who was sitting right there, and I'm yelling at him, "We got it!"
Told you.
Yeah.
Love it.
Dumb move.
Well, obviously you're here in Detroit now. We've got a guy, in my opinion, one of the best right-handed hitters to ever step into the batter's box, Miguel Cabrera.
Right.
Health has been an issue. As things move down the track, that happens to us. We understand that. How do you make sure that Miggy is able to answer the bell? How do you keep him in the best possible position to stay healthy and compete, knowing what kind of a competitor he is?
Right, and you're going to have to back him off sometimes. You're going to have to give him his days off, and we're going to try to see how many days he plays first base. And I think you just go day to day. My goal is to keep him healthy this year. I'm going to do the best we possibly can as a manager that I can do, and put him in situations, day games, after night games, those things were. And the sad thing is it's just like the Kirby Pucketts and the Mauers. The fans, when you're at home, they want to see them.
Sure.
So it's hard to give them off days at home. On the road, probably a better time, but there's going to be days off at home too, just to make sure we get through a year with him because we need him so much.
Yeah.
And the last thing we like to ask our guests before we let them go, and again, Gardy, thanks for spending the time.
Pleasure.
Appreciate you. We're going to take you back, put you in a hot tub time machine, and we're going back into baseball history. Any moment in baseball history, you're there. You get to take it in person. What is it?
Baseball memory?
No. We're going back
moment.
in history. So
Yeah.
any moment in history in baseball, you can be there to watch it.
Opening day when Tom Seaver came back to the New York Mets.
Hmm.
And I guess I don't even know what year it was, not early 80s.
I
But
was going to say like
yeah, because I was there on the bench. That was one of the best moments I've ever seen when he warmed up and came walking out of that bullpen. Those Shea fans were going, it was just like right now. See,
got
Coach
goosebumps.
Ellis?
You got
Goosebumps. People ask me your best moment in the game, right? As a player, I went, watching Tom Seaver walk in from the bullpen. Watching him walk in,
Yeah.
I was in awe.
Yeah.
And it was like the most fascinating moment I've ever seen, how the passion those fans had for Tom Seaver. And I got to be a part of it, even though I wasn't starting, I was on the bench. I got to watch him do that. And it was like John Wayne
That's baseball.
walking in. It was baseball.
Love that.
Yeah, good stuff.
Gardy,
Love it.
appreciate your time.
Cool.
Ron Gardenhire, skipper of the Detroit Tigers.